Hey, it's Dr. Cheryl Meyer here. I wanted to do a video, but I just moved, as some of you guys know. And so I often will talk about what's coming up. Because usually what's going on in my reality is just what I hear from my friends and my clients and other people is going on in their reality in a similar way. I mean, not in the exact same way, but it's the same sort of patterns. We all have to deal with different patterns on different levels. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about dealing with what is, I was listening to more of The Power of Now, and Eckhart Tolle was talking about either accepting a situation as it is. I mean, here are the different ways to deal with the now. If you're not liking the now, like right now, there's lots of different stuff going on. And I was noticing myself because I observe my thoughts instead of letting myself be taken captive to them. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but it's a practice for all of us to, hi again, by the way. It's nice I'm not seeing you guys, but it's nice to be present with you. I went on my trail earlier today, but I wasn't alone, so I couldn't do a video. And I might go back out there. But I wanted to make a video now. Anyway, so is dealing with what is our egotism or whatever. This part of us wants to just control things and wants to have it our way, and insist on a certain way. And something's been going on, I feel like, in our realities with obviously what we're experiencing in our world right now with things opening up and then shutting down, people distancing and stuff like that. Our world, we're not experiencing it the same way that we used to before. And so there are things that are forcing us in a way to change or to adapt. And I'm just experiencing that on many different levels. And I know other people are. It's getting pretty intense lately with a lot of my friends as well. And so what Eckhart Tolle was saying in The Power of Now is, I memorized it this way. I just memorized it like an anagram, the first letters were, but they were RCA. They were presented as RCA. So I'm like, how can I remember RCA? And I'm like, oh, car. And so you can remember this by car. Let's just talk about this and keep this video succinct and focused on one thing today, because it's enough. So, car. You can either change the situation and see that you do have power to change the situation. We change the situations external to us by changing how we're reacting to it, by changing what's internal. What I experience outside is a reflection so often of what's going on inside. And it's a lot easier to judge a person or a situation outside and just say, oh, if this was different, if only this changed or that changed, then my life would be better or whatever. We have this fantasy, this idea that as soon as the ship comes in out there, then everything will be different. But the more you learn how to love yourself and connect to the divine and be loving in this present moment and be accepting in this present moment, that doesn't mean we have to accept everything. Like, this is great. I'm so glad this is happening right now. But so I like what Eckhart Tolle was saying. You can either change your circumstances, taking responsibility to change what you can change. And I talked about it once before, but the serenity prayer is like, God, grant me the serenity to change those things I can change, and the wisdom, and accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because there are some things we can't change. You can't just go in and try to control everything, or else you're spending all this extra energy on stuff that's out of your control, and it wears you down, and it's not for you to control anyway. But okay, so C, or we'll skip the A for a second and go back to R. R is remove yourself from the situation. So either change it or remove yourself from the situation, from whatever you're experiencing. Or A, back to A, is accept it completely and totally as it is. So let's come up with an example. I know I have one from this morning. I didn't think if I wanted to use it or not, but let's see. I'll check in. Okay. So my example is with my kids. I have 2 kids, and learning how to direct kids and teach them in circumstances that are new for them as well and difficult for them. We all have resistance to change, and so it's as difficult. It's as difficult as we resist. If we go with the flow and we trust that good things will happen and that we are connected to the divine, to love, and we're in love, and we know that good things will keep happening in our lives, then it can be pretty peaceful, and adaptation is okay and goes pretty smoothly when things are different for us in the now. But if we had difficult childhoods, or traumatic things happened, or people that we trusted before just bail on us, or not show themselves trustworthy, or manipulate us by negative patterns within themselves that they put on us, or whatever, then we can learn to be not trusting from the experience we had. And then when changes come in our lives, we aren't in a place of trust and surrender and like chill, you know? Some people go into like PTSD, and that's post-traumatic stress disorder. They get triggered, and we go into our primal brains, and we go into fear mode and lockdown mode and all that kind of stuff in our inner worlds. And so what happens is we're resisting the now. And when we resist the now, we have less presence and we have less power. We're in a fear state and a dependent state, and we're waiting for everything else around us to come and bring us the good circumstance. And anyway, so my example this morning is just teaching my kids even just how to put their phones down. Let's say we can be addicted to our phones and addicted to social media or whatever, and keep trying to live our lives through this constant stimulation and entertainment. And it's like relearning how to be present in the moment. And wait, what do we do without a video game or without a TV going? Or I know one of my friends the other day, okay, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Let me keep it generic. Maybe I'll change a few things. But I was talking about like, you know, going to sleep even with the TV going, or going to sleep with while on our phone. I know some kids actually that like they'd fall asleep like with their phones on their faces because they're so used to being on the phones, you know. And that was just a stage that they were going through. So it's not making fun of or judging anyone, but it's about, what are we afraid to face? What are we afraid to face? And sometimes if we go back to being in the present moment, what are we afraid to face by being in the present moment and taking responsibility to change the things we can change? To speak up for ourselves. to say, no, I don't choose to operate this way with you. Like, let's say with my kids, it's a lot easier for me to be like, okay, just go on your screens. I'm going to do my thing, you do your thing. And then I don't have to teach them how to find a deeper part of themselves. To one of my kids talked back and said, I mean, we were having an open discussion, so it wasn't like, but it was like, well, it's your job to take care of me. And I'm like, yes. And this is part of me taking care of you, is to help you understand that you have different parts of yourself. You have different eyes, different parts that will say, I want to go eat my lunch. I want to go be on the computer all day. I want to go be on the TV. I want to go out in nature. They don't necessarily have that unless I teach them that. They don't know all of the good that's good for them. And so I told one of my kids, and I'm like, look, I'm teaching you how to be the master of your own life, so that, because it was great. It was, I'm not going to say how young this child is, but it was a great conversation, because he says, it's just part of me that wants that. So I'm not going to go against me. And it's like, well, yes, it's a part of you, but it's like, I can't remember who said, don't trust every thought, or don't accept every thought. I can't remember what they said, but it's like, every thought's not true. It's okay. It's not to distrust yourself, but this is about learning that there are different parts of ourselves and learning how to observe those parts of ourselves, and not just giving power to the part of ourselves that says, oh, I want to be high all day on whatever, but not this part of ourselves that says, I have to be serious all day and make videos and blah, 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 It's about, if you think of, I just thought of Christ coming and saying, I come to heal the brokenhearted and to set the captives free. Is if you learned from other people, if they manipulated you and let some weaker part of themselves dominate themselves. So like, if my parents were always yelling or always taking shortcuts or just paying their way out of situations or something like this, then I learned to always take shortcuts. And then I learned that when part of me says, I want to just find the quickest shortcut, where's the shortcut? Where's the way out of this? How can I bail out? Then if I keep following that part of me, then I keep growing that part of me. And that part of me gets to direct my life. And then I become a victim of that part of me, because if I'm just running for the shortcuts and the highs, then when I have problems, I don't have this part of myself strengthened in me to help me out with a problem and to be present and to listen and to offer intimacy and problem solving and kindness and not escalating and presence. I haven't practiced presence. I've practiced bailing. And so I want to be able to develop this part of myself. And this morning, this is what I'm teaching my kids, is how to develop that part of themselves that's reliable, that can be reliable, that can find other ways to connect in this world besides just running away to, oh, well, it just feels good when I'm playing a game on my computer, So when we're in a now moment, and we're like, oh, how did I get to the same place again? I keep going on this wheel. It's like a karmic wheel, they call it sometimes, where you reap what you sow. You keep staying on this karmic wheel, where you keep getting the same lesson over and over and over again. And because you're not choosing a different path. And to choose a different path, you have to see from a higher state of consciousness. And so it's about learning how to get to that higher state of consciousness so that you can make the change, the C and the C.A.R.e, accept something completely as it is, and then just keep experiencing the pain of that situation, or if you're in pain, the pain is, like C.S. Lewis says, pain is an indicator that something needs to be attended to. The pain is telling you not to go find another quick fix, but to go, wait a second, how am I choosing to operate? How can I choose, how can I get to a higher perspective, higher consciousness way to deal with this situation, so that I can take responsibility to change what I do have the power to change. Because oftentimes, again, it looks like there's an illusion that we don't have the power to change anything. And that's an illusion. It's your life. It's my life. I can change whatever I want to change. I can remove myself from whatever situation I'm in and not keep running to another quick fix. Because then I'm doing myself a disservice. But that's what I was saying. I was thinking of Christ saying, I've come to heal the brokenhearted and to set the captives free. Is learning, how do I truly free myself from this? How do I truly make myself powerful instead of I am a victim waiting for someone else to change, something else to change in my world. And so with my kids, instead of trying to force them, force them to be different or to get a different perspective, I knew that I had to keep shifting something in me. And as soon as I kept surrendering in that moment and going, okay, how do I make this not a power struggle? Okay, let go and just trust that a different answer will come to me instead of trying to arm wrestle them, And every time I let go, because we're on a walk, I was on a walk when I was talking with both of them, 2 separate walks. Every time I let go, then a little bit more consciousness would come in, a little more presence, and they would start coming towards me and hey, mom, and we'd start talking about something else, and it would get out of the power struggle. But then it's like 5 minutes later, mom, can I check my phone for this? Can I check that? And it's like, I was told the other day, I went to this class and it was a lot of silence in the class. But they were talking about practicing fasting from things. Just like once a week, we practice fasting with this group. And it's from things that are not bad to have. It's just fasting from something that has a hold on you. So sometimes I'll go 3 days without me checking YouTube. I could still make videos and stuff. But I don't usually have TV on, and so that's my go-to. And, there's different videos and stuff I watch, and I'll just fast from those for a few days and get my own center back and get my own mind back and be like, wait a second. Or these days, people ought to fast from the news, is my guess. Whatever. It's not like everyone has to figure out what has the most hold on you right now. Where do you keep running to? Like what was happening with my kids, every 5 minutes. I need this to hold in my hand, Get your bearings again. Find your own intuition. Find out who you are. And that's why I love making music too, because it helps ground me and get me back in that creative mind and just away from all of this. But surrendering, one other thing that's been coming up a lot is it's either the universe will create a way where you have to surrender, this is what happens to me, or else you choose to surrender your control and choose to look at what is the most wise, what's the most loving, how can I get out of this destructive or toxic or whatever, this pattern that I keep finding myself in that's really painful, so that I can have joy again in my life. And the other day, I knew because I kept wanting to go, just like I see reflected back in my kids or your spouse or any relationship that you're in or the universe around you. Your circumstances are like a mirror and they'll reflect back to you what's going on inside. So as soon as I saw them stubborn, I'm like, oh, wait, which ways am I stubborn in my life? And the other day, I knew that I was trying to avoid something because I kept trying to run back to my go-tos, and I was like, guess what? I don't want to keep running from whatever it is. And I figured out it was some kind of pain, it's already coming up, that I didn't want to face. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just face it. Let's just go to whatever this is that I'm afraid to face. And it feels sometimes like if we go towards that, that we're going to die. It feels like that because in childhood, if we faced the pain, we didn't have the power to control and change things as a child. We were like a victim of circumstances in a way. So part of ourselves still thinks of ourselves as a victim. So we'll do everything we can to avoid that, and we'll get into non-challenging relationships and like just go down different pathways to avoid that. But I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to offer myself less. Let's just face whatever pain this is. And if we get to the other side, we'll get to the other side. And it felt like I was sitting through a burning fire. And sometimes it's like I can only do that in small doses, and then go take a break, go walk in nature, go enjoy myself in a different way and enjoy life. Watch the sun setting or watch the sun rising or talk with friends or whatever, whatever we do. But sometimes if we see ourselves avoiding something, because we just learn so often to avoid pain, it's important to sit with yourself. And that's what I was saying with my friend the other day. I was like, what's going to happen, if you turn off the TV and you're not on your phone and you're present with yourself and you face whatever loneliness is coming up? Learn how to be in that loneliness with yourself for a second, for a few minutes, and offer yourself your own presence and your own love. We have this chance of feeling more loved the rest of our lives and being present with a deep part of ourselves that's felt cut off for a long time by not numbing. All right, that's enough. Okay, I wish you guys so much love. Thanks for coming by. Subscribe or share or whatever else. Who knows? I still don't know how this channel will develop more or what's going to happen, but I'm still committed to it. I wish you guys so much love. Bye.